Hello and welcome back to the Coach to Confidence podcast with a bit of a twist. We're now visual, you can see us, which is rather exciting. This is probably one of the few solo episodes I will not bore everyone with just me sat in my office. I will be getting some exciting guests. Taylor, my lovely second coach, will obviously be on the podcast as well. And we need to update this. This is very much my old logo. I've had this in my office for about 2 years. So it's just there for now. We will update that. We'll make this look cooler. I have got some cool red chairs to go on brand. You can't really see those though. So today, I'm going to give you the top 5 things I have learned in the fitness industry. I have been in the fitness industry over 6 years. Whenever I do the maths, I can't quite work it out. Last year of university, I started teaching classes. Then I did a little bit of one-to-one, and the day I left university, I went full-time. So I've been full-time PT and coaching for a long time. I'm not used to a swivelly chair. This is very fun. This is dangerous. I'm going to try and remember that this is recorded, and so no one wants to watch me going like that for 10 minutes. I have got the 5 things written down because I have done a lot of podcasts in my time. Many, I think on this podcast, maybe over 60, something like that. And I've been on quite a few as well. So I've done a lot of podcasts. I clearly love the sound of my own voice, but I haven't done a podcast visually, and I don't really want this to be highly edited. So I want this to be natural. I want this to be how I am as a person. So because of that, I have got all 5 things written down. Let me just get it up. So for anyone that does follow me or follows my page or follows Coach to Confidence or doesn't, we are a female online coaching service. We do actually have a few men and thems that we help to coach as well, but most of our clients are female. We work with a lot of people that struggle with their self-worth, struggle with their confidence. We work with a lot of mums these days as well. People that want to feel good in their skin, usually fat loss, not always fat loss, but mostly fat loss or muscle building, toning, that kind of stuff. But our main thing is about getting women to prioritize themselves, put themselves first, and see some amazing physical results. That's what we love to do. A huge part of what we do, now this isn't for every client, definitely by no means does every client do a photo shoot, but quite a lot do. I'd say actually probably the majority, or close to that, now do photo shoots. I think in the last 6 years I've done, well actually only the last 3 years have I done photo shoots, and I think we've done about 10, something like that. So we've got a lot of photo shoot results, and I love photo shoots. They're some of the best days. And this month alone, we've done 2, which is really exciting and kind of crazy. And the good thing is you can see things when I point them out now, which I love. You'll see this on my hand. I have the remnants of a great spray tan, terrible leftovers because I know the lady said to exfoliate and I didn't do that. I haven't done that anyway. They're there. I just had my partner's kids, who are 5 and 4, come in and tell me I had orange hands. And I thought, yeah, I should probably have exfoliated these, but we are where we are. So I will get to the important stuff now. If you don't already, go and give me a follow over on Instagram at live_coach. Our actual Coach to Confidence page is coach at obviously coach to _confidence. Something like that. If not, it's in my bio. Go click there and see a lot of our results. It's not even a complete list of results, but there's a lot of our results there. Testimonials, updates, that kind of stuff. So yeah, number 1. Confidence is built. Confidence is kind of given, so this is maybe a slight white lie. Most of us are built with a bit of confidence. We're built with things and then things tear us down. However, I'm talking maybe from early teen years. Let's say that whatever's happened to you up to that point is built where you are with confidence. From that point, confidence is built or rebuilt. So I am a firm believer that even if you've been a very unconfident person, you can build it, you can rebuild it, you can grow, and you can change so much with your confidence. I was never a confident person, never an outgoing person. I never in a million years would have put money on me sitting in my room, in my office, filming this for people to hopefully watch, or at least putting myself out there. I was not that kind of person. In class, I was a sit at the back, and don't speak. I'm a very naturally quite an introverted person even to this day. I built confidence, I built self-resilience, and I built my self-worth, and that's taken years and a lot of practice and a lot of getting it wrong, but confidence is built. And this is what I see with clients. They come to me unconfident, And they leave, hopefully, if we've done our job, which we usually do, confident. Now, that isn't something that is in pill form. Sadly, the workouts alone don't give someone confidence. Confidence is built, and confidence is built by you showing to yourself that you will do the things you say you're going to do. That builds confidence, because what it does is it builds that muscle in your brain going, I can do that, I will do that, I back myself. That's confidence, is backing yourself. And one thing I would say now is, still to this day, I get anxious. I would say I don't have anxiety. I definitely have in the past and being diagnosed with it, but I definitely I'm a fairly anxious person. I'll overthink things, I'll get slightly anxious, but I have a lot of confidence. Like, if you need me to go and speak in front of 400 people, I'll do it. I've done talks in front of a room full of online coaches about all sorts of stuff. I think I did the last one was about my story. So I'm not afraid to put myself out there. I'm not afraid to try things that scare me. Even the photo shoot that I did last weekend, I'm in my underwear. Like, I'm still very vulnerable in that state. I'm not like, I don't think I'm God's gift. I don't think I'm the best looking person in the world. So I do still struggle with those self-doubt moments, or those moments of disbelief in myself, but I back myself. And so I will do it. I will do it even if it scares me, and that's confidence. So confidence is built, and the good news is, if you're sat here listening or watching or whatever you're doing, you can change where you're at with your confidence. It is not a lifelong thing, and we will all have ebbs and flows. I might well be in my most confident state now. Maybe I'll have something that dips my self-worth. I've definitely had relationships, people, things in the past massively dip and break my confidence. Like, my confidence has been broken before, but it's also been rebuilt. So you can rebuild, you can regrow, and even if you've never been confident, you can. So that is a good thing. Next one, similar. Discipline is a muscle. People, again, I think this one is even different. People think they're born with discipline. I don't believe you're born with discipline. Like, human nature is to do the simplest, easiest, comfortablest thing. Like, humans survived by finding food as efficiently as possible and preserving energy and sitting down as much as they could. That's how we survive. So our brains and our bodies like to keep us safe. They like to keep things so comfortable. We're creatures of comfort, which is why discipline is important, because discipline is doing the things that future you will be really grateful for, but current you probably doesn't want to do. So, for example, a good example, we have Easter eggs downstairs. Some are mine, some of my partner's kids. Current me really, really wants to go and eat them. Not gonna lie to you, I love chocolate. I love Easter chocolate so much. Part of me really just wants to go downstairs, not binge eat them, but just have a little bit of the Easter eggs. However, I have another photo shoot in 3 weeks. So that is where discipline comes in, because it's very easy for me to think, current me wants to go and eat those Easter eggs, but actually future me, who's standing in a swimsuit on a beach in 3 weeks' time, isn't going to really get to her goals the way she wants to, or be proud of herself for the effort she's put in if I cave and go and eat them. So it is about building that self-worth and that self-trust, and that really, again, is something you can build. I think discipline is literally a muscle. I was not a disciplined person. I was a very overweight child. I definitely was not active or sporty. I stayed inside as much as possible. I wrote sick notes in PE. And I love food. I love chocolate. I'm not naturally disciplined. And I've always struggled with having one. Like, I'm not eat a square of chocolate. I'm a square of a bar of chocolate. I'm gonna eat the whole bar kind of girl. So discipline is something I have built. And the more I test myself and push myself, and the more I say no to things that don't serve me, and the more that I build that muscle of discipline and do the hard things, the easier it gets. But still, to this day, there are days I don't want to do those things. Like today, it's raining. I don't want to go and do the steps I currently need to do, but I will do it because I have discipline. But that is something I'm definitely not been given. No one's handed it to me. I have built that through resilience. Next one kind of brings the two nicely together. You can change. Whoever you are right now, whoever you identify yourself as, we all get very caught up in identities. And this is something I actually spoke about with one of my old therapists, who was amazing. And actually, she was a therapist I was seeing about binge eating at the time, because I was really struggling with binge eating. And we were talking about like victim mentalities, and she kind of said something really brutal, but I needed to hear it, which is, you have formed such a strict identity for yourself. you can't break out of that. And she was so right. I saw myself as someone with an eating disorder. I could not break out of that because, for those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with anorexia at 14. I probably spent the next 6 years in and out of hospital, in and out of therapy, different degrees of severity during that time. But 6 years in your adolescence is huge. Like, I was speaking again to my partner the other week, and he was like, "Oh, didn't you do this as a kid? Didn't you go here as a kid? Didn't you, do the house party or do this?" I didn't do any of it because I was ill the whole of my adolescence. I didn't have a boyfriend until I was like 18, 19. I never kissed a boy. I never spoken to a boy, any of it. Like, I was ill. That took over mine and sadly my family's life during this time. And so I think for me, like, my identity was the ill kid. I was the anorexic. My mum, when she talked to her friends, like, that's who I was. That was my identity that I built, that people around me had built, and kind of that was just like ingrained. And then a few years later on, the anorexia sort of turned more into binge eating. Again, I was ingrained in my head that I was someone that struggled with food. I was someone that binge ate or underate. I didn't have a normal relationship with food. And this was such a big part of the identity that I built in my head. I just couldn't imagine being anyone else. And now we all have identities, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm an online coach. That's a huge part of my identity. I have this in my office. I wear my jumpers. I spend 7 days a week doing this job. Like, it's a big part of my identity, but it's not my only part of my identity. And it doesn't have particularly negative connotations. People tell themselves they're depressed, and that's all they ever are. Again, similar, like, people tell themselves they have a bad relationship with food. That becomes their identity, and they can't imagine their lives outside of that, and that can be really dangerous. So this is me saying to you, whoever is listening, whether your identity is a smoker, or someone that just fails at things, or someone that isn't confident, or someone that binge eats, or has a bad relationship with food, whatever your identity is, particularly if it's not serving you, and particularly if it's harmful, you can change it. And if you were to scroll, it's raining. If you were to scroll through my Instagram and go well back and then go all the way to now, you'll probably see 12, 13, 14 renditions of Liv. Some that are more confident, some that are less confident, some that are doing thirst traps in Ibiza, some that now like to stay in and go to bed at 9 a.m. 9 p.m. There are definitely, people change. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing, because we grow and we build and we learn about ourselves. But stop tying yourself to one identity. Stop tying yourself to one thing or one person or one niche, because you can change, and that's really powerful. So now, I don't associate myself with that identity at all. I'm not someone that struggles with food. I have a great relationship with food. I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I don't binge eat or undereat. And I don't believe I ever will. I can't obviously predict the future, but I have all the tools in the toolbox to never go back there. That is no longer my identity, and I think that's huge. So you can change. You are, whatever you tell yourself you can or can't do, you can change that, and you can do those things that you tell yourself you can't. Next one. Self-worth will help most of our food relationships. Again, I think 90%, there are some elements of control, some elements of comparison, some elements of, I also firmly believe that things like eating disorders or mental health are also biological part of it, but I do think a large part of my eating disorders, and also therefore the depression and anxiety and so forth that came with it, was really to do with my low self-worth. I was an overweight kid, I was ugly, and I had a buck tooth that looked like Nanny McPhee, and I got badly bullied. And that from the very get-go, even though my family was amazing and can't knock any of them, I was taught that I was ugly and I didn't have good self-worth. And I just, from the moment that those things happened, my self-worth was on the floor. And that led to me going into toxic relationships, abusive relationships further down the line. It led me making decisions that were really poor because I had low self-worth, and I firmly believe that the low self-worth caused the starvation, it caused the binge eating, it caused the emotional eating, it caused all of the struggles I had with food and exercise over those periods of time, because I just didn't think I was worth a good relationship with food. I didn't think I was worth feeling good in my skin. I just had this limiting belief and this complete lack of self-worth. I didn't believe I was worth it. So when I had a bad day or someone did something that confirmed these negative beliefs about myself, I'd binge eat, or I'd starve myself, or I'd over-exercise, or whatever I was doing at the time. Improving your self-worth, which is your confidence really, will change and improve your relationship with food. Now for me, one of my biggest triggers for binge eating is feeling really bad about myself. If I get rejected or feel jealous or don't feel attractive, that has always been a trigger for my binge eating. And nowadays, obviously, I don't binge eat, but I can still emotionally eat sometimes. I'm human. It's not a regular thing, but if I'm not feeling great about myself, I will turn to chocolate. That's my go-to. And I will say, like, the biggest tip I can give you is stop just looking at food and exercise and steps and water and all those things. Work on your self-worth, and that can come from testing yourself with things like photo shoots or something that scares you like that. Again, it can come from showing up and ticking the habits and proving to yourself you can do it. It can come from the deeper work, like the therapy or the the journaling. By the way, cheeky little interlude there. We do actually have a Coach to Confidence journal. I'm saying this as someone that literally, I need to actually check what I earn, but I think it's like 10p. So I'm not saying this to make money, like Amazon takes all of it. And I think after tax, I'll be left with like 2p. So I'm not making money, but they are great. They are over on Amazon. Just type in Coach to Confidence journal, and we need to get some better photos on there because it doesn't do them justice. But there are like planners, there are like a daily check-in with yourself, things about self-worth, confidence, habits, shopping list. There's so much. Go and get one. Treat yourself. They're great. I actually haven't got the hardback. If I'm again really honest, just go for the cheap one, which is the like binder one. It does the job. It's great. I think they're great. I'm biased. I have one somewhere, but I don't want to pause this. / don't know how to pause this to go and find it. So maybe I'll bring it as a prop for the next one. But yeah, journaling, stuff like that, meditation. Building your self-worth, things like even building your self-worth in your life in general, saying no to jobs that don't serve you, saying no to things that don't serve you, saying no to stupid ass men that don't serve you or relationships that don't serve you. Build that self-worth and your food relationship will improve. I promise you that. It's not the only factor, but it is a huge factor. And I think myself and for many of my clients, I would say it's a very large majority factor. Last one. Most of us need help. And by that, I don't mean most of us need help, although some of us may, and there's no harm in that. I've mentioned therapy several times. I worked with many a therapist in my years, and I'm a firm believer in outsourcing. And I think they can be game changers. I don't think I'd be here without a lot of the support I've had, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you do need that support. Most of us need either accountability or community or just support from loved ones, partners, friends, family, whatever. I don't know personally, and I've been doing this job a while and worked with a lot of people, anyone in any network that I've ever met that's done it completely alone. I think you need someone in your corner. And that could be that you make a fitness Instagram and strangers on the internet applaud you. It could be your partner, it could be your mum, it could be a friend that you met at Weight Watchers that you now go and do runs with. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a coach. Obviously, I'm biased. Me and Taylor are great, but like you need someone. I think human beings, we're social creatures. And even if, like myself, you are naturally an introverted person, if you put me on a desert island by myself for a week, I'd be fine. I'd probably be having a great time. I'd probably be concerned about all my clients and all the messages I'd have because they'd be like, Liv, where are you? But I'd be having a great time. But I definitely couldn't be on a desert island by myself and commit to my fitness journey in the way that we all like to tell ourselves that we will. Who here, put your hand up virtually, has told themselves if they go to prison they'll commit to their fitness journey? Because I have. And I tell you what, if I did go to prison, as long as I could work out and stuff, I probably would be all right. But I would still need that accountability of support around me. Because you know what, on the days that you're struggling, or the days that it's your period, or you've had a bad day, or you're tired or ill or run down, or something's happened, whatever, something will throw you off at some point in anyone's journey. And that's when support, accountability, guidance, that's needed. The amount of people that come to me saying, I know what I need to do, Liv, I just can't do it myself. The reason for that is because every human shows up better when they're showing up for someone else. We all do it. We all show up better for someone else. Same as at school. If they just gave the work to the kids, some of them would do it, most of them wouldn't. I probably would have because I was a nerd, but most people won't. Or to be honest, if I didn't know that there was no accountability to not doing it, I probably also wouldn't have. It's the same with fitness. I'm quite self-motivated. I'm a pretty self-motivated person, but there's also a part of me that knows that I work hard for things like shoots or shows or competitions because I've got an audience on social media, and because of my job, I've got some accountability. Like, if I fail at these things, I know it shouldn't matter, but it doesn't set a great example. I don't think you should go with a coach purely because they're shredded or the strongest or the meanest or whatever. I said meanest, but I meant leanest. Maybe you want a mean coach. I don't know. I can be mean. But I would say that you want someone that sets a good example and kind of walks the walk. So there is a certain part of that being accountable. I feel like I can't let my team down and potential future clients down. But I've always got someone, whether that is my partner at the time or my family are great support, my friends are amazing support, you know who you are. Or I've often got a coach myself, and that's not because I don't know what to do. Part of it's because do I really want to, after a day of programming it for other people, want to program again? Probably not. But most of it, 99% of it, is because we all show up better for someone else. So, going to round up the tips here and leave this for today. The biggest 5 things I have learned from 6 years in the industry, we're going to call it 6. We're going to commit to the 6. I think it is. I think it must be. It's a long time. Confidence is built, discipline is a muscle, you can change any identity you set yourself. Self-worth will help most food relationships, and most of us need help. Probably should have said most of us need some accountability or support, but it is what it is. I hope you found today's slightly insightful. Hopefully it wasn't just a long 21-minute rant of rubbish. And you took something from this. There will be more educational podcasts. I'm going to plan to do some scientific ones. I might get my big whiteboard, which is currently just there, and roll it round and do some nice writing stuff. Although I will say my handwriting is terrible. And for anyone that has been to any of my classes or any in-person stuff, you will know that my drawing is even worse. Which is ironic because I have a geography degree, and the rumour or the myth or the joke about geography is that it's colouring in. So if anyone wants to see some colouring in, that will happen at some point. But I hope everyone is lovely. It is Easter, so for those of you who's watched this pre-Easter, have a wonderful Easter, enjoy it. Have an Easter egg, have a limp bunny, they're my favourite. Oh, no, actually mini eggs. Mini eggs are my favourite. But enjoy it mindfully, eat it slowly, have it as a celebration of Easter, family, friends, all these things. Don't eat it alone, sat in your car, by yourself, feeling sick. That's when you know you need to change your habits. So if anyone ever has any questions or wants to know anything else after this, please go and shoot me a DM over on Instagram. I am friendly and I love to have a chat. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.